So, hi, Janine, welcome along. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm so pleased to be with you today. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Very welcome. So, just before we dive right into it, tell me a little bit about yourself and your family and where in the world you are.
Okay, thanks. I live in Western Canada in British Columbia, about 4 hours east of Vancouver in a town called Kelowna, which is famously known for great golf and great wine. My husband and I moved back here 10 years ago. He's Norwegian. And so I lived with him in Norway for 10 years prior. So it's been 10 years of us back in Canada. My folks are here. We don't have any children, so I have lots of time to take on new hobbies and work with my Pilates students. So that's what I'm doing now, is blending golf, my new hobby, with my Pilates career, and really enjoying those two things coming together.
Great. And I think that's when when you create a passion for what you do, then you become successful. That's the first step to success, really, isn't it? So
like they say, you know, if you do what you love, it doesn't feel like work. So I'm currently doing just that. So it's feeling really good.
Yeah, well done. Well done. And more of us need to be as adventurous as what you are and just taking that leap. So tell us a little bit about Pilates, maybe how you got into it and the benefits of it.
Yeah, thank you. Pilates, you know, it's many people have maybe heard about Pilates, but haven't experienced it. It's, you know, in a nutshell, it's a mind-body program that is a series of exercises and movements to help people build a better balanced body. So what does that mean? It means looking at better core strength, better flexibility, better posture to essentially help the spine and the body move more easily. So in terms of golf, I mean, this is just really a fantastic foundation for what golfers need in terms of great core strength, good foundation, and good flexibility. So I got into teaching Pilates many years ago, over 20 years ago, actually, when as a personal trainer, I had people coming to me with very specific problems. And I thought, how can I help them? And Pilates became the path to helping them better. And it's just been a great road to serving people in terms of back care and what they want to be able to do in their life. So I'm all about helping people live a more active, healthy life.
Fantastic. Famous last words, right? And I think, you know, that balance is really important. And not just in sport or golf specifically, but in everyday life, because so often we walk around today, or we're always seated staring at our computers, or you know, with me for golf recently, I have noticed I've gone from no golf as a beginner to a whole lot of golf, and I've found more aches and pains.
Oh, for sure. It's an unusual movement. I mean, a golf swing is a very dynamic and unusual, and actually a very difficult movement for most bodies. And what I'm, you know, discovering working with more and more golfers is, of course, we're often coming to golf at a later age too. So we've got aches and pains and maybe injuries that have been with us for a while, and now they're kind of showing themselves up on the golf course. So yeah, finding some little things to do to tweak in terms of your posture and building better balance and function in the body just can make a huge difference to your golf game and to how you're enjoying, you know, doing what you want to do every day.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly is a very big movement, isn't it? A big movement.
Oh, it's so dynamic, right? I mean, who does that kind of rotation? Who does that kind of, you know, dynamic movement? So yeah, you step onto the golf course and all of a sudden your body is supposed to be able to handle all of these forces. And, you know, we don't think of that as a new golfer. We just want to go out and share a good time on the course with a friend or family member. But then you get home and you think, gosh, why does my back hurt? Or why are my shoulders so achy? What's going on with my neck?
Why can't I move?
yeah, exactly. All of that. That's right.
Right. That's great. So Give me a little bit of information about your golfing experience and how you got into it.
Yeah, my dad was a very serious golfer. And I remember missing him every weekend as he'd go off to golf and thinking, gee, it seems like he's having a great time, but is it for me? Like, do women golf? I just never really had heard about women golfers. And then when I got married and my husband was into golf, I thought, okay, I'm not going to lose him to the golf course, right? So I decided to take it up so I could spend more time with Thomas. And as a active woman, I thought, well, I can do this. I should be able to do this. And it's really been a wonderful thing that we can do together. And as I've gotten more committed to practicing and improving my game, you get more and more motivated to play more and to play more often.
Play better all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. So it really came from that. I wanted to spend time with him and not lose him to the course. I saw my mother lose my father to the golf course, and I didn't want to go through that. But then my own internal, motivation to get better kicked in. So
yeah, it does.
That happens for a lot of folks, right?
Mine was very similar too. My husband was very much a sportsman all his life, and when he stepped back from that, he went down to the local rugby club and coached down there. So that sort of took him away. In some ways, it was great because it gave us, that time apart as well, and then to come back together. But when that stopped and he took on a new job role, he kind of needed something else because he couldn't commit the time to that. And then he took up golf. He's always loved golf. And so that's how I said, well, why don't we try, or should I try again? Because we had tried once before, which was turned into a nightmare. But so, and now once you start getting into the game, it can become addictive, isn't it? It's a good addiction.
It really does become addiction. And I had some wonderful female Pilates students who used to come to me in my studio, who came specifically because they wanted to improve their golf game. And of course, I was playing golf with my husband. I have been working with golfers, but they invited me to start coming out with them to golf with a group of women. And I thought, this is great because I normally just golf with Thomas. And, it's not that I struggle, but he's a better player than I am. And when I started playing with my gals, the mood just changed on the course, and we supported each other differently, and we were more, I don't know, it was just a little bit more fun and free. Yeah. And so I committed this year to a weekly game with them, which was great to get into that consistency and having, another group of friends to golf with, not just my husband, because that can maybe be those competitive moments, or, when he's always telling me how to improve what I'm doing. Yeah, sometimes I just don't want to hear it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can relate to you there as well. So we've had to find a nice balance on the golf course, my husband and I as well.
Yeah.
All right. So explain to me how Pilates can help golfers. We did sort of touch on it a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about that.
Pilates is, just so accessible in terms of having a home program. So you don't need any equipment. You don't need to necessarily go to a studio. So it is something that if you get some training in, some basic training in, some guidance, some coaching in, you can have a home program that is really accessible. And it serves one so well to develop a good foundation in your strength of your hips and your core. So just think of your standing position and how that standing position needs to hold your power and generate power through the pelvis, through the hips. Pilates works on that. Again, I mentioned that flexibility, that dynamic flexibility around the spine. A lot of people have tight shoulders. You mentioned forward posture, sitting at a computer. Well, that doesn't serve us well, in good movement. So Pilates builds a lot of postural work around the spine and the back. So strengthening the back muscles. So all of these things strengthen the core, strength and good flexibility in the spine. It really lends itself perfectly to a golfer. So instead of having just general classes, I've decided to create something that will be specific for a golfer in an upcoming program that I'm offering, so that we can really target what a golfer does in a golf swing and how that core, hip, spine rotation comes into play, so that you can be strong and not get injured, right? Because that is really, at the end of the day, we want to keep playing, we want to feel good, and we don't want to be sidelined because we, are just feeling crummy in our bodies. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Look after ourselves, right?
Right.
Really exciting. So you've got an upcoming course coming up. So do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about that, if some of them might be interested in?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I'll just mention too that this course that I've put together, it's going to come out in January. It'll be an online virtual program. And the reason I chose January is here in North America, that's our winter. So I know you're in New Zealand and that'll be the height of your summer. But in terms of my local community anyway, that is our preseason, if you think of it, going forward into next year's golf season. So I wanted to give a preseason, a pre-golf training program so people can get ready for the next season. It doesn't mean you couldn't do this, however, in the middle of your golf season too. So it will be starting in January. And I've also blended it with Titleist Performance Institute. So I am a certified Titleist golf fitness instructor that I took a few years back when I got more involved with golf. So I can blend that Titleist element with the Pilates. So it's a lot of really functional things that is also used with professional golfers. So we bring it right down to the foundation, but it's got that blend of for new golfers all the way up to those who maybe are looking at being a little bit more competitive. This program will kind of cover that range. 12 weeks online program, coaching and classes, as well as videos and tips and links to things that they can do at home. I have a website if people are interested to take a peek at that. I think you might have the website you're linking to the show notes, or
we can put those all into the show notes for you.
Super. As well, I've got a Facebook group that people also could join. I think you might have that information too, if they wanted to dip their toe in and meet me and see me and experience some of the things that I'm offering. They could have a chance to kind of test the water, so to speak, and do some stretches and see if they like some of the movements that I'm doing and see if how that serves them in their body. So that Facebook group is also open to all of our golf community and friends that want to join us there.
That sounds great. And I have jumped on and I had a little look at that. And I have actually taken a couple of stretches that I saw. So I need to dive deeper into some of the other ones that are on there as well. So there was a great shoulder movement, abs, that I've pulled that into my daily stretches. And as we were talking about, I think it was yesterday, the SI joint and the glute stretch, and that feels so good. It really does. I have just recently noticed just right into that joint, feels just a little bit off. And so it actually just sort of popped itself back in. Just in doing that stretch yesterday. So I'd highly recommend jumping on and having a look at Janine's Facebook page and trying some of those and incorporating some of those stretches and exercises that you can find on there.
I'm so glad you tried those, Tanya, and you're getting some benefits already. I mean, that's really the key is sometimes we don't even know what we're experiencing until it's already too late almost, right? And if you think of a golf swing, it's so one-sided, it's so imbalanced. So you have all these stresses and strains that keep impacting on one side of the body. And again, these Pilates moves can be just so terrific to balance the body left to right, front to back, and to really create a better functioning, fluid, stable golf swing. And if you've got a program that you can do at home, like you say, you've incorporated at home, doesn't have to take hours, could be 10 or 15 minutes a day or every other day, the benefits are huge because the body responds, right? And
Yeah.
once it starts to respond, it feels so good. And you think, oh my gosh, why wasn't I doing this before? It feels so good. Yeah.
Definitely. And that's just a couple of videos that I've seen and tried and really benefited from. I really do think that your program would be really worthwhile. And so I'm actually looking forward to that. And
oh, good.
It will be the height of our summer.
Yeah.
But we probably will need time indoors at that time as well, because it gets pretty hot. So, you know, we can go out, have a game of golf, and then come in and do some exercises with you and get into your program. It sounds exciting.
That's great. I hope you will join us. That would be wonderful, Tanya.
Yeah, no problems. All right. So just to wrap it up, Janine, tell me your favorite course and why.
Okay. Well, I mentioned that I'm playing with some girls here, and there's a course just across the street from me, and it's a small course, but it's good fun. We play there together every Friday, called Michael Brook. And I love it because it takes us about 3 hours for a full round of 18. And it's kind of my happy time with my girls.
Yeah.
But I do play on the weekends with my husband at a longer course, which I also love. So having a couple of different courses to play is really fun because you can challenge yourself, you know, differently. So Kelowna Springs is the second course I play at. And I've decided I'm not going to play from the reds anymore. I'm going to be a big girl, and I'm playing from the white tees.
Wow.
And hitting longer and keeping up with my husband. And I think having that time with my girls and then having the time with Thomas on a bigger course, it just feels good to be able to play in both of those places. So yeah, I would encourage people to maybe have a couple of different courses that they're on, so that you can, I don't know, keep yourself sharp and keep yourself, have a little bit more of an edge to your game. So you're not just always playing the same over and over that you know so well. And challenge yourself. Go from the farther back tee boxes, or, you know, something along those lines.
Yeah, and just that simple moving from the red to the white would add quite a different outlook to the game, wouldn't it? I remember I teed off from the wrong tee, which was actually a white tee once, and I was like, wow, why is this so difficult to get anywhere? But you know, I was at the wrong tee, and it was quite a difference. Where our local club is very, very hilly. It's quite a complex course, which is fantastic, which is what I love, so that when I get to another course like maybe Takapuna, which is nice and flat, I can really gain strides in that, playing with some of the girls that I've met.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
Yeah, I wasn't ready to play the whites at the beginning of the season. The reds, you know, was definitely where my head was at. But you know what? Confidence is such an interesting thing. If you try something, you know, that you think you're maybe not ready for, but you have a little success, then all of a sudden that success goes, hey, you know, I'm doing great. I'm moving forward. I'm progressing. So, and I know that at the end of the season, doing all my Pilates as well has really helped me to just get stronger through the season and feel more confident. So I think that this program will also offer that to people who participate, is a little more confidence, and they'll be more ready to kind of, just feel stronger and believe in themselves on the course too, which, you know, I love that. Feeling like you're, you know, succeeding and progressing as you're playing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we're only, unless you're in a competition, you're only trying to better yourself with every shot that you get, and every, you know, try to get a little bit further and chip on a little bit nicer and get those putts and things like that. So yeah, we're only challenging ourselves. So if we can improve our strength and balance through the Pilates, that can only correspond to, you know, the result of our game.
I believe so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, nice. Okay, what about your favorite golf club and why?
Oh, yes. So I've had the same set of clubs for 10 years. When I first started playing, my husband bought me a ladies set of Wilson clubs, which has been great. But this year for my birthday in September, I got a new putter. an
Wow.
Odyssey putter, and it's beautiful. It's just so pretty. It's so nice. And, you know, a putter, obviously you use every single hole.
Yes.
Unlike your driver, right? Unlike, you know, some of your other clubs, you use your putter every single hole. So I'm loving it because it's pretty and new and it's my new club. And I get to practice it on every single hole. And I really am starting to feel more like I'm taking more time. I don't know if it's because I have a new putter and I'm just more focused, taking more time, but it's really starting to feel better. And, you know, those 3-putt holes are a killer. So I'm trying to get my putts obviously down to 2 or 1. So I'm really enjoying this new putter, and it's focusing my attention on my putting. So that's important.
Great. And it's that intention that you take to every game and every shot, isn't it? That you just need to focus on one shot at a time.
One shot at a time.
Okay. What about do you play with a specific golf ball?
My favorite balls are a softer ball. So I actually really like those Nike Noodles. I don't know if you've ever played with one.
No.
But it's called Noodle. So, but it's funny because we find a lot of balls, right? I find a lot of golf balls where we play. There's a lot of hazards where people lose balls. So I'm constantly picking up balls, and I know you sell recycled and secondhand balls, and I'm all about the secondhand balls because they're expensive. So why not? So I often use balls that I have found that are obviously secondhand, and sometimes they're a very good ball, a very expensive ball, but they're too hard. Yes. I find like yeah. So I tend to prefer a softer ball at the moment. It has more control, I guess, for me.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with you as well. So I use the Strixon Softfield Ladies. And okay. Yeah, when I find there's a massive difference between a soft feel and a harder ball. And yeah, just a soft feel plays nicer, feels nicer, and you do have more control. Especially as a beginner, I think you need that more control. We're not looking, because you know, you can sort of play all over the place. So if we can try and direct it to the fairway is always nice, even if you're not getting that far. To begin with, it's, you know, the idea is to try and stay on the fairway.
Yeah, you know, when you hit a ball well, when you get that sweet strike, which sadly isn't that often, you know, there's often more that don't feel quite in that sweet spot. But there's something about, you know, when you hit a ball in that sweet spot, you know, just the way that impact feels. Yes. Yeah. And I tend to get that feeling more often on a softball. Maybe I'm just getting a better, you know, my club is making contact more cleanly now that I'm practicing more. But at the moment, that sort of it feels good. It makes a good sound that doesn't feel like that clink sound. It's more soft and forgiving. And I don't know. Yeah. So I tend to lean to those. Do you like those colored balls? I notice a lot of folks play with colored balls. It seems to be a really big thing over here right now, pinks and greens.
It's popular here as well, but I do find that they're quite hard to find.
Oh. Yeah. Don't lose them as often.
Yeah, so I've got friends that use them, and I have played with a couple of those bright pink ones, and you think they'd stand out, but I struggle to find them. So yeah, I just like my little white balls.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Nice. Okay, so what about a favorite quote?
Yeah, I've got a couple. So, I mean, my favorite quote that I say, that's for me, this is not really a quote, but is movement is medicine. So I say that a lot. And my students, I know, start to say that too back to me because they appreciate that it is the case. But for golf, I think if we think about what we've been talking here about practicing and finding ways to improve yourself, practice puts brains in your muscles. Practice puts brains in your muscles. Sam Snead said that. Practice puts brains in your muscles. And so it's that muscle memory, right? When you practice anything, you develop muscle memory. Hence why you improve faster if you can be also more mindful of what you're doing, because the body doesn't actually understand the difference if you're doing something physically or just thinking about it mentally. So this is really interesting from a training perspective, from when I teach Pilates. If we can get people to be mindful of what they're doing, to think about their golf swing, to think about their body, to think about the movement pattern, whether you're swinging a club or doing it in your kitchen, the body creates a muscle memory that it doesn't know if you're swinging a club outside or doing it in your kitchen. So you build that into your system so that when you do go outside, all of a sudden, all that work that you did in your kitchen actually lends itself much more clearly when you're on the course. So I love that, because it's that mind-body connection, and that's putting that muscle memory into the body, which I think is so interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And that is really interesting, putting muscle memory into those muscles and just, repetitive. That's where all the practice comes in, right? It's the setup, the action, the movement. So we went down to the driving range last night, and it was okay. It was okay. But I was thinking about it on my way home, and I thought, well, I don't actually need a ball. I could just set up at home. And it's just the repetition of that action and just sweeping that grass every time. And if I just put that, lock that in, go in, set up, go through my own processes that I do, and just create, repeat that action, it will be that muscle memory that gets in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's for anything that we want to do better. Just creating more of that habit of learning that pattern over and over. What I then bring into it in terms of the preseason training, or the Pilates for golfers aspect, is to make sure that their body is actually well prepared to be able to do that muscle memory movement correctly and safely. Because if you're practicing something poorly, because your spine isn't stable, or you have poor rotation, or you're not in good balance, then you will learn to do something poorly.
Yeah.
Because the muscle memory is now repeating a pattern that maybe is not ideal. So that's where taking a look at, just building a better balanced body with a golf movement in mind can then help you set that up so that what you are doing to create that swing pattern memory is now from a more safe and functional and effective place, right? Otherwise, those poor patterns get repeated. So you got to be a little bit careful with what you are doing. Is what you are doing in good form, or are you repeating something that maybe isn't going to serve you? So that's something that is, what a coach can maybe assess for you and give you more feedback around.
Yeah, certainly gives us food for thought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today, Janine. And so I do have your website information, but do you just want to give it to our listeners, your website address and your Facebook? So that they can find you. Thanks.
So my website is pilatesfunction.com, www.pilatesfunction, all one word, lowercase.com. And my Facebook group is called Pilates for Active Living, or PAL for short, Pilates for Active Living. And yeah, there's lots of good information on my website about my upcoming Fit for Golf Academy program in January, as well as I mentioned on my Facebook group. Inside there, people can have access to lots of little snippets of videos and stretches and tips and things that I post every week to take a look at me, try some things out, and just to get involved with what I'm doing. So I would be so delighted if more people would join us and experience that. So yeah, thank you for letting me share that. It's great.
Great. And I highly recommend jumping on and having a look at those. Like I said already, out of just a couple of videos, I've managed to get a whole lot out of it. So it's great. I feel better already.
Oh, thanks, Tanya.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Janine, and best of luck. You have a magical day and best of luck on the golf course.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. We will be playing in a couple of days. We're coming down to the end of our season, which makes me sad, but it's been a great season. I'm already looking forward to next year. So thank you for having me, and good luck with this wonderful project of yours and with all that you're doing. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you so much.